Hello everybody, this is Shohei Yamamoto. I'm going to be going over the karate exercise program with you once again this week. Before we start, let's go ahead and have our socks off and make sure you have an open space so you don't bump into anything as we move and punch and kick. Okay, let's go ahead and start with a standing meditation. Same thing as usual. You're going to have your heels come together, your toes are pointing out. And let's go left hand over the right with the back straight. And the proper way to do this is to have your hands, fingers together like so, but have your thumb cross and have your left one in the front. And as you can see, as you bring this one back with your straight back, you're gonna have your fingers pointing down. Okay. Alright, 목소. Go ahead and close your eyes. Standing meditation. 목소 에멧. Let's go ahead and come back. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start with the training. Okay, let's go ahead and start with a light stretch. Let's have your hands next to your belt or next to your hip, and you're gonna have toes up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, right foot forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now let's go ahead and lift up your knee. And let's go knee circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 한타이. Going the other way. Straighten out your ankle. Make a chusoku or curling your toes back. And then your whole feet back. And shake. Let's go left side forward. Toes up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Knees up and knee circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 한타이. Go and switch. And let's keep your feet straight. Chusoku. Then have your heels back and go ahead and shake. Let's hold your knees and bend your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And knee circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's go ahead and switch the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, let's go ahead and open. And let's go ahead and drop your hips and stretch out your hip area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go ahead and drop your hip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's go ahead and stand up. Now keeping this wide position, you're still gonna go forward and we're gonna go lean back this time. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's go ahead and go big circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And twist and touch your toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's go ahead and come back and let's go shoulder circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 아이 한타이 switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And hands next to your belt. And let's go neck circles. Slowly and big movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 한타이. Let's go on a switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know that. Yes, man. Okay, now we're going to go into our kicking techniques. We have a couple kicking techniques today, and we're going to go over that first today. But before we start, stance is very important. Let's go into your Hiekulechi, which is a Japanese term of having half your shoulder width. This is your shoulder width, approximately for myself. Let's go ahead and go a little bit narrower, half shoulder width, and let's go with the toes straight. Have hands next to your belt or next to your hip. Okay. This is not per se a fighting stance per se, but this is a stance that we do for our kicking basics. That way you could rely on more technique and controlling of your leg and balance rather than relying on your arms and swinging of the arms too much. Okay, So let's go ahead and work with the coordination of your body first. First off, the first kick we're going to go is Kinteki Geri, or which is also called a Groin kick. Okay, so I'll go ahead and demonstrate a couple times before we start. We're going to go ahead and start with bending your knees. Not too high, but just below your belt level, and you're going to go in and use your knee snap and bring it back. Go ahead and now lift the other side, use your knee snap, kick to the groin, and make sure you bring your leg back. The reason why you want to make sure you not only kick and just drop it is because by using this snap and bringing your feet back quickly, this refrains your opponent from potentially grabbing onto your leg and holding onto your leg and just causing trouble. Okay, so make sure this is nice and quick with a knee snap. You strike and come back to your stance. Keep a good balance. Okay, let's go ahead and go a couple times together. Let's go 4 times. Okay, we're going to start off with the right leg. All right, ich, ni, sam, shi. Okay, so as you strike, you want to make sure you don't land to the front or land to the back. You want to always make sure you're coming back in this parallel stance, just for the basic as we're doing right now. Groin is obviously is a male body part, body organ. It's one of the weakest organs for a male, right? No matter how strong you are physically, the groin is usually one strike and is very effective. Usually one strike will a lot of times drop the opponent, and he will have a hard time getting back up if it's an effective strike. A lot of the human weak points are centered right down the center of the human body. For example, the groin is right down the center. Then we also got a couple other places. We got suigetsu, which is your solar plex, your throat, chin, jinchu, which is under the nose, or between the eyes, you got miken. So a lot of the weak points in the human body is all down the center. With a few exceptions, there are a couple others on the side, but for the most part, it's down the center. All right, so when you do this Kinteki Geri or groin kick, you want to make sure your feet is coming right down the center and striking your opponent's groin. Okay, very dangerous kick, so please refrain from doing it with your training partner per se, but only use it when you really have to. Okay, let's go 10 times. We're gonna go with a kiai. Ai, kyote. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring your leg back. Go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so compared to a lot of the other kicks, this does not need to be going super high or anything, because obviously we are aiming the groin. And also one last thing, as you can see, the tip of my feet is curled down. So you are hitting with the top part of your feet right here, per se. This is also called haisoku in Japanese terms. So make sure when you are doing this, you straighten out your ankle and keep your toes pointing down or straight. Okay? Now we're going to do something very similar, like kicking mechanic wise. You're still going to bring your knee up just a little higher now, and you are going to strike with the balls of your feet, or chusoku. I mean, we've done this a couple times already, but let's go ahead and review this. Let's go ahead and go maigiri. So now you are aiming the solar plex with the balls of your feet, and you're going to go ahead and curl your toes back. Okay, we're going to start with the right leg. はい、構えて。1、2、3、4. Okay, you want to go ahead and make sure you are bringing your leg up, and when you kick, using this knee snap, go ahead and bring back your leg. For this one, you are using a lot of your posterior chain, your hamstrings, and also your hip movement from the kick. Okay, let's go with 10 times with a kiai. はい、get it? 1、2、3、4、 go, go, H, hach, hip, ju. Okay, so although the two kicking techniques we did today are very similar in mechanic wise, but for very different purposes. One is the one we just did, is kicking with the balls of your feet with a front kick. Okay, and the first one we did was going and straighten out your ankle, but still relying on this knee snap. But now you are hitting with the top of your feet into your opponent's groin area. Okay. All right. So first one we did was groin kick, and the second one we did was Geri or front kick. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna go work on some blocking technique. All right. Last week we worked on Jodan or head block, which is blocking your head, right? So now we're going to be blocking from, we're going to be doing some down block or Gedan Barai, which is attack coming from down and under. So Gedan means lower part of your body, right? So anything below your belt area. This area is called Gedan. So Barai is kind of like translates to something like blocking. So we're going to be doing down block or Gedan Barai. Alright, so but before we start, let's go ahead and have one hand to the front, and the other hand, let's go ahead and bring back your hikite, or which is also just bringing back all the way to your armpit area. Okay, so from here, you're going to go to your opposite ear, pull down, and block. The one that comes to your ear is the blocking hand, and the other hand comes back to close to your armpit, or hikite. Okay? We call this hikite. This is going to set up for any types of other strikes that you're going to do after this block. Okay, let's go and practice one more time. Grab your ear and down block. Okay. So grab your ear. Now the ear, the one that's grabbing the ear is going to do the down block. Okay, one last one. And block. You are not grabbing your ear per se, but this is just an easy way to instruct somebody in helping then get the coordination down for this block. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and try this 10 times. はい、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. Alright, so the purpose of Gedan Barai is not, it's a lot of misconception of maybe when somebody kicks your leg with a low roundhouse kick. A lot of people maybe have the perception of using this to block. This Gedan Barai or this down block is not meant to block any sort of leg kick. This originated in original karate when it first formed in Okinawa. So a lot of people back in the day, they threw Geri a little bit lower to the air bladder. So this Gedan Barai was used to block that Geri. So it was never meant to block any sort of low kick, right? So any sort of low kick, there's a different block for that one. We are gonna go over it next week, okay? But for now, imagine someone's kicking with a Geri to a little lower to your air bladder, just like how they did in original karate back in Okinawa. Okay? So this Gedan Barai originated from like way back then when they were doing Geri in the air bladder region. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go Gedan Barai. Now we have the hikite and strike. Okay, one more time. Gedan Barai and strike, or down block and strike with a punch. Okay, let's go 5 times. Each. Okay, make sure you bring it all the way to your armpit. Knee. We're just doing the upper body. We're not doing any sort of stance. Some. Shi. I go. Okay, let's go ahead and now block with the other hand and strike with the other hand. Ich. Knee. Down block and strike. Some. Shi. I go. So we just practiced the upper body portion of the blocking and striking. So as you can see, in karate, it's very important to have this hikite, or this hand that's drawn back towards your armpit. So that way, after you block, you can immediately go back into your strike. Okay, because a lot of self-defense just does not end with a block. It's a little bit unrealistic if you only end with a block, but you always have to do your own offense afterwards. Okay. All right. Well, I hope you guys learned a little bit this week with some new technique that we learned, some kicking and also some blocking.